Mark Walsh here from Embodied Yoga Principles, joined by my colleagues Katerina and Tonya. Once again, thank you both. Spasibo. So today we're going to look at the dark side of postures. We're going to look at postures done excessively. Often these happen accidentally during an Embodied Yoga Principles class, and sometimes they're things we might want to deliberately explore. So if we start with a basic Warrior Two, warrior posture, so something familiar before we go to less familiar. There's a standard warrior posture, and then what you'll see is some people are doing almost like an excess of it by leaning forwards and focusing the eyes and getting very intense. You'll see that a lot in like London, New York, Moscow. This is a very kind of doing posture, yeah? So that would be an excess, and then we could look at if there was not enough of it, it might be like a bit weight back, a bit, the arms not really extended, a little bit, that's super timid, yeah? Yeah, so a little bit timid. So she's exaggerating a little bit, but that's the basic pattern, yeah? So we can think about any, thank you, we can think about any posture as having a kind of excess and, what would be the other word? An excess or a not enough? There's got to be a better word for it than that. Deficiency, yeah. Deficiency, yeah. So, yeah, if we look at some of the EYP postures that are specific to Embodied Yoga Principles, you'll see some of these as well. So let's do authority posture. So a nice classic authority posture, we're exploring competence and where you have authority and power, blah, blah, blah. And then a sort of less healthy version would be to tighten up and get dominating. It's kind of like, yeah. And some people just do this a little bit. Again, I'm showing the, we're showing the excess here. And then if you didn't do it enough, you could see it like as kind of a little bit timid, a little bit like that. And again, we're showing it a little bit more extreme, but like how Katerina's doing it here is not far off how I see a lot of students do it. And then go back to your normal version. It's probably a little excessive, actually. Yeah. So we have a pattern that the midpoint's never the midpoint, yeah? Okay, so these two actually have different patterns. You tend to need to turn it up a bit, don't you? And you tend to need to turn it down a little, just based on personality types. Watch the video on personality types. Other ones, giving. So we have giving. We have generosity posture. So this is one we explore for like what are your offers and how are you giving. And then we sort of see on the dark side, sometimes it's like over-giving, like off-center, or like forcing stuff on people, like you will eat grandmother's food, it's like that. Or sometimes it goes into not giving. You start to see like this, it's just like my precious, it's not really so generous in that way. Equally when we do containing posture, or sometimes we call this care posture. Yeah, you see just this in Romania recently, and they have this kind of Italian style pattern of being like over caring, and other people are a bit like over, we might say like liberal parenting, like a little bit like blah, yeah? So it's like usually there, and then naturally people will go into one of these excesses, yeah? What are some other mistakes or excesses you two tend to see while teaching EYP?
In no posture.
Oh yeah, classic. Do you want to show that one? So we have a standard no, which is around here. And what are the excesses you tend to see?
Like this.
Oh, so really open, yeah.
Like this.
Defensive.
Also about this.
Oh yeah, the Slav girl one.
Yeah.
Okay, my wife does that one. Yeah, and then pushing away, right?
Yeah.
Like excess no would be like, pushing away.
Or just saying like no, but laughing.
Like maybe smiling, the head changes.
No.
A bit nice, and then we see it if I can push. So we'll see it with the push. So sometimes I push people and they push away, push me back, and it's like whoa, okay. And other people collapse. So there wasn't really a no there in the system in the first place. It was just an impersonation. Any that you see in other postures? Like, I've got one more. Yes. Sometimes looks victim-y. So yes is this receptive posture of accepting, saying yes to what is. And sometimes we'll see it come into generosity, or it'll come into like holding, or containing. But often it will be like victim-y. Like, there's nothing I can do. It's not an active yes, it's just the sort of tolerating bullshit. Yeah, not an actively saying yes to something positive, yeah?
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, that's because it's not your style at all. Any others you see in the different postures in terms of?
Maybe openness.
Uh-huh.
People tend to be relaxed and close the eyes and close the palms when they are...
You want to show it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, you're fine.
That's okay that way.
So this is a posture we use for exploring openness. And the way we do it is with the eyes open and with the hands open, because that just makes it like a little bit active. And what tends to happen, as you were saying, is people go passive, right? So do you want to?
If I just pretend to be open.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not really open, even though it looks sort of the same posture. And sometimes we see this in the face. Can you do taking space posture, Katerina? That's another one we were playing with earlier, wasn't it? So taking space posture is, being seen. Yeah, so there's the standard version is, and this posturally, this is great. Arms up a little higher, the hands are open, and we'll see things like the face will close, like stop smiling, like do like Russian style, and the fingers close. So now it's not, and the feet have gone in slightly, so it's not really openness anymore, even though it looks almost the same posture. Now say, ah! It's a thing I got from a guy called Dylan Newcomb, who does something called Uzazu, and that brings the whole thing much more open. Open the hands, open the feet, yeah. So you can do it in small ways just by changing the head or the eyes or the hands. Those things we actually use positively as micro postures. Look at the video on that. Are also things that can kind of ruin a posture, if you will. So you can do, yes without doing yes, and being open without, sometimes I see people and they're like, yes, I'm really taking up lots of space now. And they're not, it just they just put their arms roughly in the right place, yeah? So there's a few. Thank you both very much. There's loads more on those, loads more postures you can look at. If you look at some of the videos on the individual postures, there's 24 main postures, you will see some other ones there as well. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. More importantly, however, get the newsletter. So the newsletter you do, is that right? In the box here? Okay. So why you would want the newsletter, so you hear about the best videos, so you actually ask me questions, you can reply to the newsletter, I'll reply. You can hear about events, teacher trainings, other things that are happening, and stay in touch more reliably. So newsletter there.